So I think I think we're good to go here. I got 1 o'clock by my time. So we'll welcome everybody. My name is Brad Stoller, and with me is Clint Brinkley from Your Business Service Solutions. And we're going to continue our series of educating, the Texas area business owners. How about that? And managers. So, our series is just simply entitled How to Use Technology to Grow Your Business and Avoid Cyber Crime. Today's topic, we're going to move on, and this one is going to be more on the ways to educate your employees to protect your business network. So before we start, Clint, do you have any opening comments, anything you want to get off your chest here before we dive in?
Oh, let's dive right in.
Okay.
I'm excited to start going over this with everybody.
All right, sounds good. Well, for those of you who missed last week, I'm the guy on the left part of your screen. My name is Brad Stoller. Clint and I work together, and we work very well together. He's a good guy. So everything I'm going to say about me, I'm not going to say anything about me because this is all Clint's show here. So Clint, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why somebody should listen to what you're going to talk about here today.
Well, I've been in the industry for well over 20 years now. I've been running this particular company for over 16 years. So with all the accolades and everything that we've been able to accomplish, I just can't say enough about the team really that we've built here. There is no I in team, so it's not just me. It's because we've got a great staff here.
Yep. Awesome. And I agree with that because I've worked with your staff and gotten to know a few of them and all that. So a great team. And I enjoy doing these with you too, because I don't do them for everybody. Only the ones I like to work with. So cool. All right. Enough building Clint's ego up here a little bit. So let's talk about the real issues here. And that is, first of all, again, if you missed last week, we talked about some of the awareness of what's going on in the world of computers and how it affects your business. So we talked a little bit about cybersecurity. We're going to just briefly highlight just a little bit of that just to kind of frame it up. And I know there's a lot of things on the screen. Now, last week we went through these one by one, but I don't think we need to do that today. Just know that some of these are pretty important. But Clint, from your point of view, if you had to name one or two of the things that stick out to you the most and affects the most businesses, what do you think those would be from your point of view?
I really think that the things that don't need to be glossed over too much is the fact that small businesses are being targeted, and small businesses can be defined in a lot of different ways. Me personally, I define them as any business that's under probably 200 employees. That's a pretty small business. And yes, there's could be a micro business involved in there too, 1, 2, 3 van shops or something like that. Right. So, but these businesses are being targeted, and it's usually because they don't have the budget to be able to put into this.
Yeah. And I might even add just a little bit to that because, you're right. A lot of the business specialists, smaller ones, they don't feel they have the budget for this, but the third one down, if you look at the global average cost of a data breach is $3.9 million for small business. So if you don't have the budget, protect yourself. How are you possibly ever going to come up with that? These are not numbers we came up with. The bottom of the screen here, you can see the source, and you're welcome to go to it. And in fact, Clint and I, we talked about this last week, but I think these numbers, a lot of these are a little understated because this is about back in June and this is now October. Yeah. So these numbers are actually.
I think this is probably from a few months ago, and things because of COVID and because of the shutdown, they're taking advantage of some other things. So yeah, it's a little understated.
Yeah, exactly. And I know the one that kind of sticks out to me a little bit is that is the last one down there where it says human intelligence and comprehension is considered the best defense against phishing attacks.
Yeah,
that's not our language. That's just the source we came from, and that's what we're going to kind of touch on a little bit here today. So. Without any further ado, ways hackers trick employees. And again, we talked, we had a little larger list last week, but really kind of narrowed it down to the three, I'm going to say biggies, if you will. But Clint, give us your thoughts on email attachments, working remotely, social engineering, and how that impacts your business. both positive and negative, I guess.
Yeah, you have to be real careful with attachments these days. Some people have email firewalls, some people don't. We're primarily talking to people who don't have these mechanisms that are put in place right now. If you don't have these things, then it's basically all on you, and not even on you. It's on your employee to determine, is that a valid email that just came in? Is that really Sue Parker that just emailed me from XYZ company? And is this a valid email attachment? Is this a valid invoice that they may be sending me? So attachments, you got to be real careful with them, because as soon as you execute them, you're done. I mean, by the time you open it, it's game over already. So it doesn't matter anymore if you've told it, yes, I want to run a program, yes, I want to install a program, yes, I want to run an update. There are mechanisms right now with purely just photos, purely just attachments programming into PDF files, that as soon as you click it to open it, it's done. The damage is already there. You may not even see it.
So, and you can't take it back once you open it either. So you got to be careful.
That's it. Yep. And working remotely, I mean, I really can't say enough about this right now, because what you're basically dealing with is you're dealing with a home network that was never designed to do some of the work-related things that you're doing right now. Keep in mind, whether you have a spouse, whether you have kids, whether you have anybody else in the house or not, your network's not secure. Your kids are getting on the school's website, which may or may not be secure. They're going through a web page to do it. Your spouse is probably getting onto their stuff, through their work. There's so many different things that you have to take into consideration whenever it comes to your home work environment. But if you're configured correctly, then you can actually bypass the security on your home network and then ride the security for your corporate network, so that you inherit the security properties of that remote network. That's going to make you a lot more secure, a lot more safe, and your entire system more safe. Those are things that I can always go into more detail on. Social engineering, that's simply manipulating somebody. So that would be me sending Brad an email telling him that, hey Brad, I don't want you to send me a check to this address anymore. I want you to send it to this address. Or picking up the phone and calling him, or sending an email to him. It makes it look like it's coming from me, but it's actually coming from another address. That's just a few examples of social engineering, and they also call it phishing, but there's a lot more that goes into that. And I think we're going to come into some of that in just a minute.
Yep. Somebody told me that we might just do that. So we'll see how that ends up. But so let's move along here. And so we're going to have a little fun here today. So it's not just, a boring lecture, if you will. We're actually going to play. Okay, so interactive. So here's your chance to have some fun while you're having lunch here. So how's it work here? So we've got a game that we came up with called Stump the Employee. How about that? So if you're not an employee, I guess you can put yourself in that category and see if we can stump you today. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. So we're going to have some examples that we put up on the screen, and we're going to give you about 5 seconds or so. You don't have to put it in the chat or anything like that, but just for your own sanity, I guess, write it down. It's either yes, it's real, or no, it's some form of an attack. Okay, and I'll bring the example up. I'm gonna, as soon as I do, like I said, we'll have about 5 seconds. Clint will hum off the theme of Jeopardy for 5 seconds. And then and when we're done with that, though, we'll come back in, and I'm going to have Clint to kind of give the answer, and he'll walk through, why it is or it isn't. Okay, so drum roll. Okay, we need some sound effects here, I guess. We got to get better, I guess. Next one, maybe we'll have sound effects. Okay, so here we go. Everybody ready? Okay, nobody's talking, I guess. So I guess that's a yes. Okay, all right, here we go.
Number their mics are on mute. It's kind of hard to hear them.
It is, I guess. So everybody's hitting the raise my hand thing. Okay, so here's these are all actual emails, and I'll just kind of read it off to you, I guess, but it says here, it seems we can claim a refund from the FTC. Check this out and give me a call. Got the link there, and there you go. Okay, so 5 seconds. Do you think this is a real, or is this something that's a little dangerous? So 5 seconds. Clint, go ahead and start humming.
Crap. Yeah, that's not happening.
Not happening. Okay.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
well,
save everybody from that right now.
Okay, all right. So, all right, I think we've had more than 5 seconds here. So, Clint, what's the verdict here? Is this a good email, a bad email?
This is a very bad email. So, first off, what I'm going to point out is right there on the line across the top, where you're going to see where it's talking about the secretary at the FTC. What you're going to find out is that's more of a government organization. They're not going to come from a .com. So you've got to be able to make sure that you catch some of these things. Oh yeah, hey, there we go.
There we go. Oops.
Nope,
Wrong
one,
button. Wrong button.
Abort.
Yep.
And then you have, you're looking at the bottom, it says it's secretary. Is it spelled the same way as the top? Okay, well, it just looks a little bit fishy. You also got to make sure that whenever you look at these things that, like assistant, sometimes they'll like to throw an extra S in there, or maybe an extra I somewhere, or, it'll look like an L, but it's actually an I. There's a lot of tricks that they like to play on these things, but a lot of times also whenever you're looking at the links, mouse over that link. So whenever you mouse over the link, you see the little area down there at the very bottom of your screen, bottom left, that has a .ru, which is a Russia link. So those are some little telltale signs that before you click on anything, you do not have to click it to get that link down there at the bottom of the screen that you're seeing. That's a real link. That's a real a feature that Outlook will do, and actually most email readers will do for you. If you mouse over it, it will probably tell you somewhere on the screen whether it's right over the top of it or down at the bottom of the screen.
That was a good thing. I never realized when you said the .ru from Russia. Okay, I never realized that. So hey, I learned something today. Okay, cool. So how many got that right? Okay, put that in the chat here if you want to. We'll keep score here and see how people are doing here. Okay, so moving along. Next one. Okay, we had to kind of block out a few things here. We don't want real names things. So, dear user, your mailbox will soon exceed its storage limit as set by our administration. Anybody ever got that? I know I have. You will exceed until you validate it to, I think.
Well, hey, it looks like it's coming from Verizon, so it might be true, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 5 seconds. We might even give you 7. Okay. No, Clint was not going to hum the theme from Jeopardy, so you're on your own for another 5 seconds. Okay, write it down, yes or no.
If you're really good at humming that one, we might invite you on for the next one.
There you go. Okay, Clint, what do you think? Is this a good one, bad one, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, we got another scam here. So, while you're looking at the from field up there, it does have a point that it says that it's from Verizon, but if you look where it says reply to, it's obviously going someplace else. So that's a dead giveaway there. A lot of times you can also mouse over those things. You can take a look at a few different items in the from field in the header there, and it'll be some dead giveaways for you. Whenever it's saying dear user, I mean, if this is your account, they're going to be using what's considered tokens to be able to identify you specifically. It's going to have, it's going to say, hey, dear Mark, something like that. So you'll be able to see those. And again, it's got this link right here that says click here. And if you look at the bottom, it looks like it's going to some kind of Oklahoma construction company, maybe. but it has that .ng, which is actually I believe maybe Nigeria.
I think it's Nigeria.
Yeah. So and of course they come up with all sorts of fictitious domain names to make it. They'll even make some of those URLs down there look legitimate. But if you look at them close enough, some of the items won't make sense on there. You know, you're looking at the dot extensions, the country codes. That's what they call those at the end. And sometimes it's just so wild looking that there's no rhyme or reason or pattern to it. And those are just some dead giveaways.
Okay, well, there you have it. So, all right. Hopefully everybody got that right, but let's move on to the next one.
All right.
Okay, so article on what to expect in the workplace. So let's see. It says, Charlie, this is a great article that could be part of the framework for webinar session 1 and 2. And there's a link, long link, looks like it's from Forbes. It's a good read and mentions about IT. Okay, let's take 5 to 7 seconds here and think about it. Write it down at home or in your business office, and we'll get back with you in 5 to 7 seconds. I got to find Jeopardy theme on my phone here so we can play it real quick. Next time.
No, I think even though Mark is muted out right now, I can hear him humming in the background somehow.
We're picking on Mark. Mark was here about 10 minutes early, so he got to listen to us chat for a while. And most of it's about him, but no, it's just kidding. So Mark and I have never met, but from what anything I hear, he's a pretty good guy. Okay, so we've more than had our 5 to 7 seconds at Mark's expense here today. So Clint, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is definitely phony. I mean, acme.com, give me a break. That's a real easy one to come up with right there. Whoops. Yeah, let's not leave too far. And in this particular screenshot, you can't actually validate the Forbes link, but just by looking at this is definitely something that's a phishing thing. It's blind carbon copying some random email address too. So that's also a dead giveaway. Always look at the to field, the from field, the you're typically not going to see a BCC field, but this one shows BCC. BCC, for those of you who don't know, blind carbon copy. But look into the CC fields as well, because if you have like just a ginormous number of CCs in there, some of that could be a dead giveaway to you as well. Because if you're looking at some stuff saying, I don't know this person and I don't know any of these other people on this CC list, just delete the email. Just get rid of it.
Sounds good. So here's the real thing, because I threw this in on you. I didn't tell you about it. So I changed the names and all that, but that's actually an email from me to you. It is tough. I put that in there. Whoops, we stumped each other, I guess, but I put that in there. But it is difficult sometimes to tell between a real and a good one. But okay, I threw some things in to really throw Clint off here. So I probably should have told you that beforehand, but
you can't throw me at acme.com and not expect me to think that's bad.
No, but I didn't want to put, Clint Brinkley at ybs.us. That would be a dead giveaway. Okay. But anyways, so it is difficult to tell sometimes, but he's right though. If I saw an email like this from acme.com with a blind carbon copy with HubSpot thing on here, I'm thinking this is bogus. So that's kind of, he said yes or no, we might give you credit either way on this one. Okay. And I promise I won't do that again. Okay. So the last one, this is just really just some things, Clint, if you want to just kind of go over just to kind of, a lot of things you've already covered, but
right.
walk us through here what people should be looking for.
Yeah, a lot of times you will see some of these come through with this on Microsoft.com address on there. And basically what that is it is a Office 365 account, but this is the generic domain that they assign to everybody whenever they create the account. So if they don't actually have a domain name, then they're going to have that on on Microsoft.com on there. And they always have to have something in addition to that. They can't just have that by itself. So this person in particular, they just put their name was going to be security. So that's what the name of their company was. That's how they created something like this on here. So it's obviously a fake email account because nobody actually uses those, not if the services are configured properly. It's got a 2 meg attachment on here of a PDF file. Yeah, definitely contains a virus. That is just not something that Microsoft does. They don't send you this particular type of deal. Again, we already touched on this about the dear customer. too generic. They've got tokens built into the system. They can tag you and they can make sure that it's, actually your name listed. Yeah, definitely that sense of urgency. The phishing attacks use that sense of urgency a lot. You'll see it in invoices. You'll see it in wire transfers. You'll see it in some sort of credit card scams, gift card scams. There's just such a large number of things that they will throw in there. It's not only invoices, so don't just think it's invoices that you're looking at. Yeah, definitely what's included. It's poor grammar. There's no apostrophe in there, and typically Microsoft is not going to make that mistake. A lot of phishing attacks, you'll notice, are actually going to have grammar issues. Also, one of the things that that's not illustrated on here is look for logos that may not be the current logos.
Good
That's
point.
one of the things that I've noticed really, really often, that it'll be a Bank of America or some sort of financial institution, but it's like their last logo, not their current logo, or maybe it's pixelated a little bit too much. So if something's not clear, if it looks a little fuzzy, it's also something to be suspicious about. But yeah, like it's mousing over the link right here. This is actually going directly to an IP address of a website. So it's their own private email or web server, and it's trying to get you to go to their web server, download this file, which of course the file is bogus. The file is just going to be a virus that gets on your system, and you may not even realize it right away, because you'll click on it and it won't do anything. So you'll click on it again and it won't do anything. But what it's doing is it's actually loaded something in the background that you won't know about until later.
After they get all your stuff out, yeah, next thing you know, your trade secrets are gone, and who knows what else. So
yeah, I've actually seen instances where as soon as you click on that file, even though there's nothing that changes on your screen, now they have access to your camera. Now they have access to your microphone. They could be monitoring anything you say and do.
when I had worked, this is a few years back here, but I spent some time working with Verizon Wireless, and our instructors, I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but they all had the black electrical tape over the cameras on on their laptops. And Verizon, nobody knew it at the time, but they were one of the top for profiling. This is a while back, but they're the ones that came up with all these ways to profile using the internet, and they did a lot of work for the government that nobody even knew about. Wow. They knew what was the capabilities, so they all had the tape over the cameras, and we all kind of wondered that none of them liked to walk by the windows. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was sci-fi stuff. And now today we're like, yeah, I guess so. It can happen. So, yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about training programs, Clint. I know you and I have talked about this in the past, and part of the problem is people will or business owners will talk about it. Maybe sometimes they don't even talk about it, but maybe they'll go over it once when somebody's first hired, and then they never talk again. So tell us a little bit about what you think a good training program should be, and what you recommend for somebody to do.
Yeah, I really recommend that there needs to be some ongoing training that's kind of implemented through your HR department, or HR person, whoever that happens to be, just at least tracked and enforced through them. There needs to be something online. There needs to be something repetitive, and the reason that I really say that is, it didn't take you one time to have a lesson to drive a car to know how to drive a car, to do all the things that were necessary. It didn't take you, one time of somebody showing you how to do the job function that you're doing. There's a lot of information, a lot of details that need to be translated to you. This is no different. This is one of those situations where this environment is constantly changing. Things that we tell you this week, we may be telling you additional things next week, next month, next year. Most likely we are, because even this year alone, I would say that we've probably updated our training about 6 or 7 times. And here we are in October right now. So yeah, that's a lot of changes in 1 year, just to be able to make sure that people are on top of things.
Yep. And I think the big thing out of this is, if you don't feel after listening to this if you don't feel that your employees, or maybe you are one of the employees and you don't feel that your company is really doing a good job of training. I remember one of the stats on there, if I back up a little bit, I think it was, I forget the percentage, but I've heard 80% of all cyber attacks come through the employees unknowingly doing something. So if you don't feel your company's doing a good job of preparing you, or if you're the company owner, maybe you think, maybe I ought to beat this up a little bit. My advice is probably, you got one of the top experts right here, Clint. You wrote a book on it, so talk to Clint. He'll help you out. I mean, you don't have to be a client right now or anything. I think Clint, I'm talking for you here. I'm building you up here, but um, he's not going.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We've got some programs that we can put in place for you that are very inexpensive, and it's a turnkey approach. You tell us a little bit of information, and we get it rolled out for you. We can do it in a very stealth manner. We can do it very publicly. It just all depends on what it is that you would like to accomplish with your staff.
Okay, awesome. So we have committed to keeping these very, very short. So we want to make 20 minutes and then some questions after. So if you have some questions, jot them down. Now's the time. And I'm going to, like I said, one thing here. This is kind of brand new here. So Clint, tell us about the No Tricks, Just Treats, that thing that you've got going on here while you're thinking of some questions.
So because we are in October right now, so we've got our Halloween special going on. So if you've got some needs for cybersecurity, if you just want to make sure that your house is in order, we actually have a program. Go to this website, ybs.us/trick or treat, no spaces, please. And then whenever you get on there, just fill that out, make an appointment with us, and we'll be able to go through and help you get an analysis of your network. It can be something that you can stick in your files. It can be something that you hand over to your insurance company. A lot of our clients are coming to us on an annual basis right now and saying, hey, my CPA wants this done. So make sure that your house is in order. Make sure that you're taking care of the things that take care of you.
Sounds good. And our next session coming up is how now we start getting into more of the fun part. Now that we, kind of scared everybody to death here with cybersecurity, I guess, but it's real. Got to bring it up. Part of every plan, you got to have a, way to protect yourself. But now we get into more of the
scared enough right now. I know of people who've paid thousands and thousands of dollars in ransom money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that should
scare you. I just heard this a couple days ago. In fact, it's on the news. It's on the national news, and I forget which hospital center it was, but a hospital system across the country got hacked. Yes. Ransomware, they said. Now, they didn't disclose anything else, but think of all those clinics, individual clinics, all the way across the country because mothership got hacked. It's probably ended up through one of the smaller clinics. And one of the stats was 93% of all hospitals have been, attacked this year, and I think it was 57%, if I remember right, have been hacked at least 3 times, or is it 5 times in the last 3 years? I think it was. That was the stat.
Yeah, a lot of times whenever they get hacked, there's going to be a repeat of it, and it's usually because they think that they're safe at that point in time. They've paid the ransom, they're off the hook, when in essence, it's actually the opposite. They're still in your system. You paid the ransom. They're bad guys. What do bad guys do? They cheat and lie. So they're going to come right back at you just because you didn't put enough effort into protection.
Yeah. So anyway, so get with Clinton on this employee that's training, because this is such a big deal. But next week, we're going to be talking about productivity tools to help you sell more, operate more efficiently, and just flat out keep your employees happier because they don't have to go through all this stuff and have you yelling at them because they let some. So we'll talk about that next week. And let's see if we have some questions here. Okay, so one question that came up is, Clint, what is the number one way people hack into your system?
Really, I think the number one way is probably lack of maintenance to a system. So a lot of times there's a lot of components on your network. I mean, just too many components to count right now. That if proper updates don't get applied, what happens is the media does all the work for the hackers. They publicize the fact that, hey, Microsoft or Dell or, you insert company name, they publicize that, hey, there was a patch that was released. It's going to fix this such and such vulnerability. And now if you haven't just applied that, now the hackers are aware of it. Now the hackers go out and start exploiting that particular problem. So that is actually one of the things that we see as the biggest problem out there.
Okay, sounds good. We don't have any other questions, so I guess that's it. Clint, any closing remarks about the bad side of the cyber world before we get to the good side and the fun side?
Well, all I can really say is these things can be stopped. These things can be minimized to a point where they're not going to affect nearly as many people. But keep in mind, this is like an onion approach. We've got to have layers of this to be able to make sure that everything is taken care of. If you make it so complicated that the hacker has to take so much time to get into your system, they're going to move on. These hackers are lazy. They want to be able to just get in real fast, get what they want, and then move on. If it takes them days or hours or anything like that to the nature, they're just going to move on.
Yep. Good advice. So again, this is Brad Stoller and Clint Brinkley. We're glad you joined us today. Make sure you tell somebody about Clint. He's doing a great job. He's helping people out. He's doing this, volunteered his time to kind of get this word out to everybody. Share it when we get to the replay. Forward it to somebody that you think might be able to be helped by this. We're really I know, Clint, you're on a mission to help as many people in Texas as you can. So
Absolutely.
help everybody else. Let's all come together with this. So again, this is Brad Stoller, and for Clint, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.